guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go a pretty entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, I'm guessing he's about 40, 41 years old. He is very happily divorced. He's a father of 2 teenage boys, good sons and all that. And he shares his story, how obviously things didn't work out too well in his marriage. He made a lot of mistakes. He was a pushover husband. But one day realized, I'm not living like this, because it was a very bad, unhappy marriage, multiple fronts, and I'm not going to subject my boys to an environment like this. Divorced her, got through it, and now he's doing his part to improve himself, but also make sure his sons don't act like he used to act like, and they're good boys. And he found my channel at one point, and now they all watch me together, and it's been good. Well, recently, guess what? The mother found out that the boys watch my channel. She's none too happy about that. And that'll be a pretty funny one to go over here, guys, because I know you like to hear it when the moms and the ex-wives find out about me and they don't like me too much. And to show you guys that my channel, in spite of what some women out there think, has definitely helped out a lot of guys. I know it helped out a lot of you guys, as well as give you some good daily entertainment here. And I love hearing back from the guys out there who've been working on turning themselves around, and a future generation of young guys learning to be the best they can be and not take any crap. So it starts off, says here, hey SSM. Well, first off, I want to say a big thank you to you for doing what you do. Your work has helped me in ways that you would never imagine, and I'm sure there are plenty of guys out there who would agree with me. Brother, you're welcome. I love doing what I do. I appreciate you watching me. And if this channel has helped you out and gotten you through some dark times, motivated you, wonderful. That's my goal. Now on to the subject of my email. My ex-wife. To put it mildly, she hates your channel. Well, tell her to get in line. More specifically, she hates that my 2 teenage sons, ages 15 and 16 now, watch your channel. But before I get into it about her, I'll give you a brief history of our downfall and catch up to the present time. She and I married fairly young, not too long after we got out of college. He says, I know, smack. Yeah, smack. Why? What was the rush? Because you were in love. I was 24 years old at the time, and she was 23. We've been together since our sophomore years in college, and I really thought we had something great, and it was the right decision. Boy, was I wrong. Well, it is what it is. Then 18 months later, after getting hitched, our first son was born. And then 16 months after that, our second son. I was over the moon, but even then it was obvious problems were there. Pretty much from the time of their birth, it all became about the boys and not much about us. She wasn't interested in sex anymore or even going out. While we did enjoy each other's company for a while, we both loved our boys and quickly became like roommates. Talk about a cliche. I also became the typical doormat husband who lived by the saying, happy wife, happy life. Again, I know, smack. Yeah, smack, smack. You get 2 fucking smacks for that. Right there. I bet a lot of guys watching this that are married or were married, this sounds familiar. Everything was great. And the kids were born. And then became all about the kids. And the loving stopped in the bedroom. And we stopped going out and all that. And maybe she was a good mom. And you got along as roommates. But that was about it. It's really unfortunate. He goes on saying, however, the more I tried to make her happy, the more unhappy she became. See? Because she knew that she was being an asshole. And you were trying. And she saw her perception of you that you're being weak for putting up with her crap. She wasn't making any effort, obviously. You were trying. But a man can only take so much. And the sad thing is, your boys are observing this. They're seeing an unhappy household. And people usually just get worse and worse and worse. Well, needless to say, I was a simp. And for the next decade or so, we became more and more unhappy with each other. We both loved our boys, and she was a good mom to them. But I was increasingly miserable. And not having much sex, I might add. Well, I'm not surprised there, dude. It got to the point that we didn't have much to say to each other other than discussing the boys, their schedules, etc. I'll admit that I did let myself go during this time. When I was younger, I used to be in relatively decent shape, but from that point on, started eating a lot of crap, stopped exercising, and was definitely 40 to 50 pounds overweight. My wife, too, also started putting on weight. She certainly was not obese, but definitely not skinny. Yeah, again, a stereotype. and 40, 50 pounds. I don't know how tall you are, but regardless, whether you're 6'2" or 5'8", that's still a big chunk. And yeah, but that's what happens. People will eat away their misery or drink away their miseries. Well, as time went on, we both became increasingly unhappy, and there was more bickering and eventual arguments. I did my best to shield my boys from them, but I couldn't always, as she would sometimes blow a fuse. So, yeah, there you go. The more time goes on, the more pissed off she's getting, bitchy and all that. And the boys are seeing this. Well, finally, after about 12 years of marriage, I came to the conclusion that not only was this bad for me, but also my boys. I would have dealt with almost anything for them, but I could tell this increasingly unhappy, intense environment was having a negative effect on the two of them. I know it wasn't helping any with how I behaved, and if I wasn't careful, they might end up like me. I'm glad you can admit that. One thing I really like about you, sir, is that you are owning up to where you screwed up. You opened flat out, you were saying, hey, you were a simp and a pushover, and you were screwing up. You knew it, but it seemed like at that point that it was so far gone. And what's the most logical choice now? Start over. So 3 years ago, I made the decision that it was time for us to split. I knew even though she clearly didn't love me, I knew that even though she clearly did not love me and was deeply unhappy, she wouldn't want her life to change. Yeah, she accepted the status quo, and now she has to, Well, I tried to one day discuss this calmly and rationally with her when the boys were with their grandparents, but she threw her usual hissy fit and said all sorts of nasty things about me, blah, 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 and her reaction only reinforced why I was ending the marriage. I'd be thinking, thanks, honey. You're throwing your temper tantrum and calling me all sorts of names is just backing up why I'm ending it with you. Well, SSM, the next year was tough. But I won't bore you with all the details, but it ended with joint custody, her getting the house, shocker, and no alimony since we both make about the same amount of money. We split things up pretty equally and parted ways. It was hard to tell the boys, but surprisingly they were very mature about it and seemed to understand. Yeah, I mean, look, I have a cousin. She and her husband split up years ago, and when they told the boys, my nephews, they were older than your boys at the time. They understood. They could clearly see, and it worked out for the best. I truly thought the whole situation would be pretty bad, but I think she realized finally that it was time and the boys were not happy. Again, she does love our boys, and I will give her credit for that. Well, that's good to hear, but that ain't loving the boys when there was always fighting and fucking drama going on. And look, there's always two sides to every story. I mean, I'm sure if you're being honest, and you've been pretty honest, there were sometimes things you didn't do that were perfect, and you can go round and round. But it seems overall she was the big a-hole in this, because at least you were trying, But no, rarely is it a fully one-sided situation. Anyhow, after the divorce was finalized, I felt a giant weight off my shoulders. I can imagine, brother. I vowed to change my life around and never be the pushover that I was. At the time, I was going to get my ass into shape, man the fuck up, and show my boys the right example so they didn't turn out like I was. Enter your channel. Hey, there you go. I found your channel in early 2023 when I was looking for content about starting over after divorce. I had other channels recommended to me, but yours resonated with me the most. After listening to videos, I was hooked. I would listen to the videos driving to and from work and was amazed at how many guys made the same typical and type of mistakes that I did. I think what really helps guys out there is knowing they're not alone. Whether guys are just sharing their stories on platforms like Reddit or writing in to me and their situation, that's the impression I get. And understand this, guys, if you're stumbling on this channel for the first time, you're not alone. There's guys all over the world that have been through or going through the same shit as you are. But you all are going to be okay. There's a brotherhood here. Well, from that point on, I got a gym membership, hired a trainer, and 6 months later dropped 25 pounds or so and put on muscle. Dude, that's awesome. And I might add, okay, you're 40, 41 now, so this is 3 years ago, so you're late 30s. Yeah, you're not an old man. You can still make major changes physically and everything. That is awesome. And 25 pounds or so in 6 months, that's a healthy pace. You probably knocked a lot off real quick, and then it's been slow and gradual but steady. But also you're putting on muscle, so it's like Yeah, you probably dropped more weight than you thought. You probably thought you lost like 35, 40 pounds, but because you're putting on muscle, you know, muscle's heavier than fat. Bro, I'm so proud of you. You must feel amazing. And the good example you're setting to your sons. I bet your ex-wife isn't going to the gym losing 25 pounds. She's probably pissed off at you, even though, you're being civil for the boys. I felt like a new man, and the improvement pushed me to keep going even on the bad days. And he says, guys, even though you're divorced, there will be bad days. Well, between your videos, the gym, and my new outlook on life, I decided it was time to work on my boys. I didn't mention it before, but they are definitely good kids. They do well in school, play sports, have friends, and I couldn't be happier. But so was I, and I eventually made all those mistakes. So I decided it was time to maybe introduce them to your channel. Well, you're not the first guy that's told me they've introduced their boys. Hell, I've had some guys say their daughter's watching with them, and they found it pretty funny. Well, one day when we have joint custody, so one day when they were at my house, I put you on the TV one day, and at first they were like, why are you watching this guy in the car? Well, fair question. I told them just to listen to the story, and you'll see why. It was one that I knew they would like. It didn't take long before they were laughing at your wise-ass comments and all your profanity. They also like that you smack people. There you go. I'm popular with the kids for smacking people. How they like me smacking you in this video. I'm sure they were loving that. Pretty soon we would watch you together when they were staying with me. My youngest, who was 14 at the time, called you the smacking guy. That's awesome. Well, I'm proud to say that in the last year, all of us have been on our grind. The boys are now lifting with me when they have the time. That's cool. That's great, man. We talk about the videos and what these idiots are doing wrong in the stories and what they're doing right. I am upfront with them about my mistakes, but reiterate that their mom has always loved them and to show her the proper respect. Well, that's good you're doing that. Even though she was an a-hole to you and you butted heads and everything, if she was a good mom to them, like you said, even though, a lot of tension and problems with you, and she's good to them, okay. Let's see how she is after she finds out that they watch my channel, though. They've definitely come a long way and are two driven young men. Well, then one day, their mom heard them watching you at her house. Oh, God. Let's just say she didn't take it too well. She apparently heard them watching you and heard the cursing while the boys were laughing. She was eavesdropping and heard your views in the video and finally came in the room and demanded to know who was this guy. This obviously is them telling him this. Awkwardly, they said some funny guy on YouTube. Being as she is not stupid and saw your account, she started watching you too. Oh, so that's who's been sending me all the hate lately. It wasn't long before she said you were toxic and she didn't want that in her house. How's she going to prevent that in the house? They're going to watch me on their phones. They're going to watch me on their tablets or laptops and stuff like that. I mean, come on here. Unless she hires some tech guy to somehow block me and everything. And, come on. Well, my oldest texted me to give me a heads up, and I told him for now, don't watch it when she's around. Yeah, don't watch me when I'm around or when she's around. Stop the drama. But if you think it's going to stop there, Well, it wasn't too long before she approached the issue when she was dropping them off next time at my house. She apparently told me that they were watching some jerk on YouTube, and she didn't want her sons to become misogynistic assholes. Here we go. I got news for any of the moms or women that stumble upon me. I am small potatoes compared to other guys out there. I am middle of the road. I will call guys on their shit all the time when they're being fucking morons or, you know what I mean? And I'll give credit to women, good women out there. So if you think I'm the devil, you're wrong. I am helping guys. Yes, I curse and say fucking shit and asshole and stuff like that and smack dudes, but, I'm small potatoes. You don't have to worry about me. If you think I'm the biggest fucking problem, I can't imagine how they react to some of the other guys I've come and gone on YouTube and kicked off, demonetized, all that. I'm sure some of you guys know who I'm talking about. I laughed, and she wasn't amused, and I said they're good boys and you have nothing to worry about. They're just having fun, and the guy on YouTube isn't bad. She obviously connected the dots. I watch you too, and must have introduced them to that. Well, duh, dude. She's not stupid. Obviously, She connected the dots. Well, she wasn't happy, to put it mildly, but at the end of the day, she's not my problem anymore, and they can watch you with me or outside of the house. Isn't that great to say? She's not my problem anymore. She'll be some other asshole's problem one day. But yeah, I think that with her, I don't know when it was, 6 months, 8 months ago, what the hell is it called? Netflix had this 4-part show called Adolescence. I'm sure a lot of you either heard of this or watched this. A completely made-up show about young boys being exposed to guys online and all that. Completely made up to try to scare the shit out of people out there. And maybe she heard about it or saw an article or watched the whole thing and immediately is overreacting, thinking that's it. I ain't like that. And your boys aren't like that. So this is ridiculous. But women tend to fly off the handle. Or probably she heard me or watched some videos of me because she wanted to see how I was, saying things, to do things, that to behave in a manner that, well, is not going to give women like her control and power. Does she want her boys to be men or manginas one day? Anyhow, I told her that the guy on YouTube doesn't teach guys to be losers and scumbags. He helps them become good men, good solid men with a whole lot of profanity. Ha. Well, it's going to be one ear out the other with her. Until she calms down, she's just going to see me the way she wants to see me. So SSM, a big thank you to you for what you do. I can't change my past, but I can sure as hell improve my present and future. I can also use my bad experiences to make sure my boys grow into good, solid men who are successful, self-reliant, and if they want wives and families one day, will handle it much better than I ever did. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Zach. P.S. If you could give a shout out to Jeff and Mike, they would love it. Well, shout out to Jeff and Mike. Guys, everybody give a shout out to Jeff and Mike out there. And shit, give a shout out to the ex-wife, whatever her name is. But then again, she's probably watching me now. We'll get mad at all these guys. But what is what it is. So, bro, good story here. Your ex is not the first ex or current wife or girlfriend to think I'm the devil incarnate. But here's the thing, like I said, there are guys way worse than me out there. I'm small potatoes and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I'm small potatoes, but in terms of a problem or a threat. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I'm glad that you introduced your boys to this. I'm glad you're on a path to self-improvement, helping them. Just keep doing what you're doing. But I do recommend that, your boys, you also help on the front of other areas, like part-time jobs during the summertime, their own bank accounts. Eventually, your 16-year-old son, if he's not doing already, will learn to drive. And then eventually, he should pay for some of his gas and insurance and stuff like that. Start teaching him about money, all these types of things. Teach him basic things, if you haven't done already, like how to fix shit, how to change a tire, little things like that. It will add up, Again, like you said, they're self-reliant and all that. That is good. And respectful. Even though their mom is flying off the handle and all that, still, you said they're good boys, respectful. That's good. End of story. That's what I'm trying to do. Help guys be more successful, self-reliant, not be manginas, good old school men. And my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. And do I curse a lot? Fuck yeah. But this is a men's channel. It is what it is. So I'm glad to hear things are going well. So down the road, give me an update. I'd love to know how you and the boys are doing. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you got a good story to share or something to ask me, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.